Regular Show and Adventure Time, two icons and pillars of Cartoon Network. Running for several seasons and a couple hundred episodes, these became the biggest cartoons of the entire past decade. And now that both of these shows have been over for a good bit, it's time to figure out which of their stars would win in a fight to the finish. Mordecai and Rigby from Regular Show, or Finn and Jake from Adventure Time. It's our season finale, and according to the Discord poll, Mordecai and Rigby are going to come out on top, with more than twice the votes that Finn and Jake got. But who knows what the future holds when all is said and done. Maybe the underdog team was onto something. Let's dive in and find out. This is Versus Battle Cards. Starting off with the Arsenal category, and Mordecai and Rigby don't really have much, but what they do have is very versatile. For starters, they're just pretty decent at throwing hands. They're not afraid to punch or tackle or kick or whatever it takes to stop their foes. And while many of the powers and upgrades and weapons they've gained on their many slacking adventures are just temporary and only last for one episode, there's still a pretty good handful that sticks around, like Death Kwon Do. It's a powerful martial art that lets them block anything, fly into the air, punch and create shockwaves, and even just posing really cool can take out a full room of enemies. They never did lose their basketball powers either, which also lets them fly and breathe in space. There's the Fists of Justice, two extremely powerful gauntlets originally made for skips, but Mordecai and Rigby can also use. Then finally there's the Realm of Darthon, where Mordecai and Rigby can use their imaginations to speak anything into reality, even including the very laws of the realm they're in, like when Mordecai created the Immunity Sword, which is immune to all rule changes. Now at first, this appears to be a one-time thing or all in their heads, but when you look closer, there's actually a ton of episodes where Mordecai and Rigby can just talk things into existence. Like when they use the power of poetry to defeat Tyler the Creator and Childish Gambino. Or when they use their synchronized singing to defeat the Silver Dude. And of course, we can't forget their keyboard, The Power, which also lets them do whatever they want with song. Heading over to Finn and Jake, and they've got a massive arsenal of their own. Finn by himself is able to dwarf both Mordecai and Rigby with the amount of weapons he has. Like his many swords, his golden sword, his demon blood sword, his night sword which allows him to disable and negate the powers of others, his grass sword that he can combine with his Finn sword to create a duplicate of himself named Fern, and then there's his robot arm, which has a fan, a weed whacker, razor blades, and all that other cool stuff. Finn also has some psychic abilities, like when he summoned butterflies or the ancient psychic Tane the Moor elephant, or the time that he was so mad at his dad that he just willed a magical ghost arm on himself that had telekinetic powers, all in hopes that he could punch his dad and rip off his arm. Jake's arsenal is way smaller, but still just about as useful. He can stretch for miles, he can shapeshift into just about any form, and he can move his organs around in his body to resist poison or avoid vampire bites. Finn and Jake are also resistant to transmutation, able to resist and reverse magic spells with sheer willpower. And guess what? Finn and Jake also have imagination powers and can make anything real, including imagination off switches to turn the imaginations of other people off. Despite how loaded Finn and Jake are though, I'm gonna have to say the arsenal category is a tie. No matter how many swords Finn has, it doesn't really matter when both sides, including Mordecai and Rigby, can just will whatever they want into existence. Let's see what the YouTube predictions are thinking though. Speed is a pretty easy Mordecai and Rigby win. They're able to control vehicles that can travel across large distances in space in a relatively short amount of time, and there's loads of laser dodging and outrunning feats from future guys and other enemies. But for an exact number, we need to look at Pops. Now obviously they shouldn't scale to Pops' full power celestial form, but scaling to base form Pop should be acceptable as they get caught in the middle of many of his skirmishes. Pops in his base form was able to escape the pull of a black hole and fly across the solar system in mere moments. Even if it took 30 seconds, that's still at least 500 times the speed of light. And even when Pops reached his maximum level in training, Rigby was still quick enough to react and throw a boombox in his way, granting both Mordecai and Rigby massively faster than light speed stats. Finn and Jake aren't so lucky though. There's a couple arguable speed of light things in Adventure Time, like some vague magic laser dodging, but mostly it floats around the relativistic to massively hypersonic area, with Finn and Jake being able to scale to the Ice King, who has Ice Lightning and can fly to space in mere seconds. They can catch back up in power though. There's so many casual planet level stuff in this series. Again, scaling to the Ice King, whose weaker alternate timeline self could freeze the Earth for hundreds of years. Finn survived a point-blank blast from Flame Princess, who was burning so hot she was going to burn up the planet from the inside out. He's beaten the Lich countless times, who has the power to wipe out all life, and he's defeated Hunts and Abadir, who stated that the Lich is his equal. But things get even higher in the afterlife, as Finn and Jake are able to take beatings and defeat those who can destroy entire dead worlds. Now, destroying dead worlds sounds like just another planet level feat, but some of these dead worlds have their own suns, which means that Finn and Jake should at least be star level. Mordecai and Rigby aren't going to let that slide though. So many of their slack-off shenanigans result in the entire park being destroyed, with Mordecai and Rigby often caught right in the middle of it. But like with their speed, they should be able to scale to Pops here too, suffering tons of accidental abuse from Pops' and Anti-Pops' base forms. Mordecai and Rigby themselves were able to just tank the destruction of Pops' home planet, and Pops in his base form was able to survive a black hole and cause a supernova by flying into the sun with Anti-Pops. This means Mordecai and Rigby should be able to tie things up with Finn and Jake at star level. Let's see how the Discord predictions are holding up. And the final category is a pretty easy Finn and Jake win. Mordecai and Rigby may be skilled in Death Kwon Do, but it doesn't quite add up to Finn's incredible sword talents. Plus, Finn and Jake have had an entire lifetime and afterlifetime full of adventures, totally eclipsing Mordecai and Rigby's experience. However, even with that, Mordecai and Rigby are still the winners. Finn and Jake are tough and have been through a lot, but Mordecai and Rigby are just too irregular for them. Aside from being potentially 500 times faster than Finn and Jake, Mordecai and Rigby are able to negate their massive arsenal advantage with their powers of imagination, being able to speak things into reality. And while Finn and Jake can do that too, their imagination powers aren't quite as reliable. Theirs are invisible, sometimes their imagination can turn on them, and they only have a one-time experience using them. Mordecai and Rigby have way more methods of doing so, and they can change even more, like the very laws of the world they're in. For instance, if Finn made an imagination off switch for Mordecai and Rigby, they could use their vastly superior speed to counter with, "We're covered with the imagination shield, which protects us from imagination hacks." Not to mention that even if Finn and Jake succeeded in turning off Mordecai and Rigby's imagination, they still have other tools like the power to pull that reality warping stuff off. Mordecai and Rigby are as strong as them, much faster than them, and are way more well-versed in reality warping for them to be prepared for, even with their massive list of experiences. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thank you for predicting in this episode. Now, this episode was the season finale. I don't really have a next time matchup to show you for you to predict for, so here's what we're gonna do. In the comments below, ask me any question about this show, and I'll answer it in the Q&A that's going to be in the Season 3 presentation. But that's not all. I also want you to go back to any previous episode in the series that you want to, specifically ones you disagree with and think to be incorrect, and leave a comment on why you think so. Because I'll be doing debates in that Season 3 presentation as well. I'll see you guys next time. Now, while I can't exactly leave you with the next matchup, I can at least leave you with this.
Get ready.